What up, folks? What up? What is up? Happy Wednesday. Money, cars, motivation. That's the motto, MCM. I am Rell Purnell, aka Car Show Rell, and we tune in to the second episode of Network is My Net Worth. We talking about sacrifices today, guys. Sacrifices. My guy Jay Hall agent just tapped in. Let me go ahead and bring him on in live. Tap in my other account. Hall Empire. What is up, my guy?
What's good, bro?
Man, let me send a request.
Cool.
I'm gonna add it, then I'm gonna take the phone upstairs.
All right, bet.
You see the folks jumping in. Fabian Williams, 7539. What's up, man?
Right.
You ready, fam?
Yeah, let's get it.
Man, how was your day?
Good, man. Just hustling, running around, meeting clients. Real estate's such a crazy business right now that, everything is online searching, phone calls, all of that or whatever. So actually, this is a built-in time where, we just chopping it up and talking biz, and I don't have to be answering phone calls. So that's a blessing.
Big fact. Big fact.
How was I seen you was running around. You and my guy Vapors was out of town, and I know you've been meeting with some other super successful people. How was all of that stuff over the weekend?
Man, that was crazy. 5 to 10. I got to meet this brother. 5 to 10. We got to bring you up on Car Talk too, man. I want to hear your backstory. But yeah, man, we was running around Dallas, doing what we need to do for Car Talk TV. Non-stop weekend. Come back home, preparing for my brother's birthday. That was crazy.
Yeah, happy birthday to my man.
Yeah,
Ron, happy birthday, shorty.
yeah. Happy 30th, bro. And then today linked up with Eric Randall for his podcast. Be more forward. Met some great individuals there, outside of himself. That he was able to connect me with. Big Chris Tuckin, man. What's up? So yeah, that shout out to the boy Eric Randall, aka COB Easy. Sure y'all tap into him. But yeah, today we talk about sacrifices, fam. Kick it off.
Yeah. Let's get it. So when we initially kind of sort of mapped out our episodes, we thought this would be perfect for episode 2. Just to kind of get into different various sacrifices that we've made, not only in our careers, but as business owners. And then I want to get into later in the conversation some tips of some creative sacrifices that you can make within your business or your career that'll help you get to that next level. Um, so for me, I'll lead off. For me, one of my earliest and biggest sacrifices. So right around the time when my daughter was born, if you remember, my mom's was sick as well.
What year was this?
This is '07.
'07. All right, man.
Yeah.
Rest in peace to your mom too, bro.
Yeah. Appreciate that. And 5 to 10, it's all good, fam. Appreciate you. And so they reached out to me and was like, listen, do you want to, what do you think? I was on leave. They was like, you want to come back to work? or do you want to stay with your mom? And I was like, nah, my mom gonna need some hands-on care, so I'm gonna stay with her. So, I give up my job. And at this point, we living in Pikesville, got a nice little spot or whatever. I'm paying the bills, all of that. And I sacrificed that when she comes out of the hospital to move into my aunt's basement. Right. So I'm an adult living in my aunt's basement. Like I just came off of right before she got sick. I'm about to see six figures, 22 years old. Right. So I flushed all of that down the table to take care of my mom's. And then, but on the side, I'm like, if she starts to get better, I'm now like, all right, I gotta get back to work. So I found a job, but in that time, trying to preserve my credit, I had to get rid of my car. So I had no transportation, right? So I find another job because, I'm skilled and it's all the way, it's 30 minutes away. Well, in the car, it's 30 minutes away from my house. On public transportation, it's 3 hours.
Mm.
So, I'm working on the other side of the world. And for the first time in my adult life, I jumped back on the bus again. But I did it because, shout out to City Financial, they're out of business now, but it was a chance for me to get into a subsidiary of Citibank and build my buzz back up again because my buzz had kind of sort of gotten stale because I was out the game. But in order to do that, I took public transportation 3 hours both ways.
Mm.
And I did it for probably 2, 3 years as a means of getting myself back on track, getting things back in order, so on and so forth. But had I not made that move, like the second half of my career wouldn't have gone as successful because I used that platform to propel me into better opportunities. Um, but like you said, it's all about sacrifices, bro. And I'd say that's probably the most pivotal sacrifice that I made, getting on the bus, not knowing how to use no bus ticket and all that kind of stuff or whatever, and just kind of sort of grinding it out to get back where it is I need to be.
Man, great stuff. Great stuff. I guess it's my turn. So let's see. For me, in my career, um, man. So I was working first. Do I got any feedback? Any feedback?
Nah, you good. You good.
All right. So around the same time, 2007, when I first got into retention, that same year, me and wifey, we was kind of going off. We got back together, and I told her I told myself that I'm gonna propose to her, Christmas. And so it's getting there close to Christmas. My money was okay, but my money wasn't where it needed to be to buy a ring. And I still was in the car game. I was trying to get a new build. I was trying to get I think I had a wagon that I wanted to put on the ring. And money just wasn't there. What's up, Pivy? SRT Pivy. And I had to take on another job, and it wasn't a typical, go back to AutoZone being an actor. And I took a job working at McDonald's part-time. I'm working 9 to 5 at a bank, making solid money. And I took a job at McDonald's, not right around the corner from the job, but it was, not too far, but still in the area where it was close enough to the job that I'll be serving. I'm serving my coworkers out the window, out the drive-through window, bro.
I remember that.
How crazy is that? You feel me? And I didn't care. It was no pride for me. I was like, man, I gotta do something. Shane L, what's good? What's good? I was like, man, I gotta do something. Because I'm not making enough money to make these pivotal moves. I was still having cars. I'm like, man, I'm trying to come out with this car. That's crazy. I'm not trying to choose between my wife's engagement ring and my cars. If I could try to make both work, you know me, bro. I'm trying to do what, like you said, 5 to 10, whatever it takes. I'm like, man, if I can pull off both, I can pull off both. But if I gotta sacrifice the car, sacrifice the car. But my first goal was like, yo, I'm gonna take on this part-time job, making whatever, a couple $100 a week, and try to finesse my way do both. And, by the grace, yeah, it makes you appreciate it now, bro. Look, I ain't even work at McDonald's as a kid.
That's a fact.
I'm 24, about to be 25, working at McDonald's, and I'm not a manager, bro. I'm working with kids. I'm working with kids out the drive-through window. I couldn't even learn to register. It was so fair. Like, man, just put me on the drive-through. I'll make a couple fries, some shakes. I'll flip a couple patties.
Right,
But
right.
it was wild, man. It was wild. And people was like, man, that's your truck out there. What you doing working at McDonald's? I'm like, man, look, it's a long situation. If you got time to listen, I could tell you. But that was one of my first sacrifices. And I guess I'll kind of segue it into the more recent within the last maybe 10 years or so. 2012, man, working in corporate America. CEO Sass, how are you? Working in corporate America again, 2012. I just got to a point where I was just fed up, bro. I was making solid money to me. I had the Benz, I had the new home, newly married. Had just got the four Giottos. Matter of fact, I ain't even had the four Giottos yet. I had the four Giottos on reserve. But I'm like, man, F them 4Gs. I can't stay here at this job. It's driving me nuts every day. And man, I talked to a couple coworkers. I was like, look, I don't know how much longer I'm gonna be here. Can't take it. It's consuming my life. Like, but you gotta throw it on the way. I said, I know. You just bought a house last year. I know. Can't do it here. I'm willing to take a pay cut to just have sanity, just have peace of mind. Like, I'll make less. But, my happiness, like, I'm not happy here. What's up, Shady?
Well, what's so funny, before you go forward,
Yeah.
I got to share a sacrifice of yours that I didn't even understand it was a sacrifice. And I was super immature in the moment, and it was hilarious, but I respected it. So, you and I have had this conversation offline, but how you doing, Shaky T? But you remember, you used to have that old dirty notebook that you used to like map out your bill, like every goal you had. Like if you wanted to buy a car, you wanted to, whatever, you would map out to the penny what it costs, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So we ain't know no better, because we was all young and getting money, so we going out every day. You know what I mean?
Still keep them.
I already know you keep them.
They
You keep them till they turn brown.
Look, they gonna be NFTs in the future, bro. They gonna worth some bread in the future.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So we used to we didn't understand kind of sort of what your method was. And I remember you came to us and was like, listen, man, I can't go out no more. Like, I'm not going out socially. This was before, you had met the woman that's now your beautiful wife and all of that. Like, you was single. You was like, yo, I'm not going out. I'm not going to lunch. I'm not doing anything. And you used to take these you used to get these $1 frozen Swanson dinners, right? And I'll never forget, we was in a meeting at work at Bank of America, in corporate America, and they bought up, and shout out to the boy Chris Shesby. He bought the whole floor in the room, like, yo, Rel got the hard truck with the Louis V stuff in it and all of that. But every day he take these $1 frozen dinners into the truck, and when he leave the truck, they come back hot. He got a microwave in there. Like, is he lighting a cigarette lighter to heat him up? Like, what is he doing? And it was hilarious to us, because we eating fine dining for lunch, because we don't know no better. Like I said last week, for most of us, we fresh out of, well, I'll speak for me. I ain't gonna speak for the other guys. I'm fresh out of West Baltimore. I don't know nothing. This is Chipotle before it was Chipotle. This is Outback before it was Outback.
Big facts.
So I don't know no better. I don't know nothing about that. So
what up, Ray?
Watching you do that, and I can remember, fast forward, you being like, yeah, I'm ready to buy a house. You about to do what? Yeah, so all them years that I was eating them frozen dinners in the car, like, I was saving money. Like I was still buying cars and doing all the stuff I wanted to do and blowing money, but I was saving money specifically to buy a house. And then behind your back, we started to look at each other like, listen, man, if I took that lunch money and put it in the bank over however many years, we'd have been able to buy a house as well. But I think that was one of, after that, I started to follow your financial plan. Because if you remember, we started to eat loaves of cinnamon raisin bread and water a day. Like we
Yeah.
wasn't spending no money.
Yeah. Chips. We bring bags of chips.
Clearly, I wish I knew better because the carbs affected me better than you. But neither here nor more, neither here nor there. But I think that was a great sacrifice, and I didn't want to pass that because it takes a lot to eat $1 TV dinners. When you grow up the way that we grew up, where eating those dinners were common, and you doing it with a pocket full of bread every day, and you was only eating the same one, Salisbury steak, the turkey one with the gravy on it or whatever, all that sodium in it. You know what I mean? It was an amazing sacrifice, and I'm gonna always have respect for you for making that move.
Appreciate that, bro. I'm gonna be honest with you, to me, when it comes down to sacrifices, even back in the day, that was like '04. That's probably '04, '05. And making those sacrifices wasn't too hard. Like once I got my mind set on something, it's done. I don't care. Whatever it takes. Still now, obviously it's a different caliber, but still now, whatever it takes to make it happen, that's the move. And my wife's the same way. The fast forward a little bit, man. The first year biz, what up, A1? First year biz, was crazy nuts. Went through 2 cars, blew through all my savings. Max out loans, max out credit cards. And me, whew, it was a lot of money. And I'm looking like, man, I might have to go back to work. My mom might have been right telling me I'm crazy for leaving my job. I'm like, man, but I wanted to go bad. And, it was my wife that was making those sacrifices with me. Oh, look, I'm working part-time. So if we got money to go towards the bills, whatever, we got, take some extra money to come from somewhere else, my job to take care of, the business expenses, whatever. We ain't taking no trip out of the we gotta do a weekend stay somewhere, whatever. If I gotta miss, my birthday or Jay's birthday and we do something low key, it's whatever. And I'm like, man, well, I rock with that heavy. But she was also part of the sacrifice as well. Financially, mentally, physically, spiritually, all that. It's moments where I cried, back then. And I cried tears of joy tons of times where I cried. Man, I got $200 in the bank. Expenses is $550. What? How am I going to make it? I don't know where it's going to come from. I never lost the faith, though. Never lost the faith. The first time I went down like $100, 5-figure check came in. I'm like, wow, God, you're so amazing. I always believed. Yeah, I'm like, man, but I believe that 5-figure check came in. And then a couple months down the line, first it happened again. I was down like maybe 500. And this time I was like, oh, it's gonna come out of nowhere. Another 5-figure check out of nowhere. And these stories I like telling the people. People go through all types of stuff. And if I could tell them like, yo, look, I just have faith. Faith is what kept me going. Especially as business owners and entrepreneurs, you keep faith. You never know. You might get a phone call, an email, or something. Yo, I remember you from back in the day. Look, I'm doing this now. I need security for a whole week in Atlanta. We fly you down, my guy from high school. We should fly with you. I'm looking for you for the past 5 years. Boom, fly you down. Next thing you know, you got $20,000 gig lined up the whole month. Whew.
That's a fact. That's a fact. No, I mean, I agree 100%. And watching your walk prepared me for my walk, because before you was even in that game, social media made it seem different. Like social media made it seem like, don't get me wrong, every now and then you know somebody discovers a product, the product has an immediate market and it's successful. But for the most part, social media was looking like, yo, listen, man, last week I was changing tires at Firestone, and you know now I make $1 million a day. So watching your walk and going through the, you know, business was great this week. It was tough next week. It was great the week after that. It was doubly great the week after that. Then it was slow. It prepared for the ebbs and flows. And that's, as we talk about it all the time, what led to us even starting this thing from scratch is because we just want to kind of sort of give the real. Because from a sacrifice perspective, my first year in business, which was, it was really the end of 2018, but I'm going to say the first full year was 2019.
Yep.
And in 2019, like,
What I
to
might
your point, I didn't do anything. Like when I said I didn't do anything, I didn't do anything. Like we didn't go to the movies, we didn't go on vacations, we didn't go out to eat. We was in the house. Like the idea of vacation, like it had gotten so crazy that year that I ended up buying. Amazon was selling like this industrial snowball maker that's like the same joint that they use at a snowball stand. So I bought one of those up front so that over the course of the summer, to give the normal feel that we would have just hanging out, I would just make snowballs in the house.
wow.
Like, cause it was like, yo, we had a mission, and we had to be super tight in order to pull it off, whatever the case may be. Because the thing about building a business from scratch is you can't forecast income that you haven't obtained, right? It's almost like how a lot of people lost jobs, homes, and everything in 2008 because they were living off of jobs that they had where they was making top dollar in commission, and then that commission fell through because commission isn't guaranteed income, right? So they lost everything. So to your point, we thugging it out with the minimum just to get where it needs to be. And that kind of sort of taught me to my first lesson that I want to share, which is people talk about having a 5 or 10 year plan. As an entrepreneur, that's idiotic. You have to have a 24-hour plan. Like, what are you doing today to ensure that you can open your business up tomorrow? Like 5 and 10 years is great. And I'm not saying you shouldn't have a long-term plan, but it's hard to have a long-term plan if you ain't generating long-term revenue. So you got to be able to say, yo, well, how much am I making to pay my bills to work tomorrow, so on and so forth. And it's sacrifices. You know, it's hustling, getting out here, like you said, doing whatever it takes. You know, we talked about it. Yo, when I started my business, I was door dashing. Like you talking about handing food out the McDonald's window. Like I was pulling up to people's houses that I had contractual business with their dinner. And I'm walking up to the door like, yo, hi. And this is before the mask era. So you seeing my face, you know who I am. You know what I mean? I'm walking up. I remember one particular house I went to, and thank God their kid answered. And the kid didn't know me, right? But I could see them in the background, and I could see them kind of looking like, do I know him? And I flew around that corner and jumped in my car. But it was whatever I could do. And at the moment, what I enjoyed about DoorDash was it was something that I got 3 hours until my next appointment. Let me bang this out for 3 hours and stack that money, and then I'll turn it off, and then I'll go and do my next business. Because my mentality was, what do I got to do to be able to open up a business tomorrow? You know what I mean? And, you know, when you move how we move it, which is, it's all risk.
Mm-hmm.
Like my business is going really well right now. And that's a blessing. But if my business failed tomorrow, I know how to pivot and survive because I'm a hustler. But you just got to be willing to continue to recreate yourself and do other stuff. Like my I don't know if he's still in here, but my guy Sass that's in the comments. I've watched this guy separate from his regular career create three different businesses and rebrand himself. Like
Uh,
we was having conversations about real estate, and then he was like, nah, I'm ready to go fly over here and learn about this, and I'm chilling on real estate and then circling back around like I'm bringing real estate back from the dead. Like, you got to be able to move. And listen, it it is what it is, whatever it takes. I mean, I'll share one of yours because we shared so many stories. I think you forget some. You did, I want to say, I think you worked I'm going to call it a major government event, right? That's how I'm going to phrase it. So you worked a major government event,
no,
and
go
I
ahead.
remember you sleeping in your car.
Yeah,
Like, I remember you calling me from some hotel parking lot like, yeah, I can't even get a room. Like, I got 30 minutes into the next 8-9 hour job driving this foreign dignitary around, so I'm ready to go sleep in this parking lot real quick. I'm gonna hang my jacket up on the door so it don't get wrinkled, and I'm gonna sleep in the back of the car. I'm gonna talk
bro.
on the door. Like, it was different. It was
Yo,
different.
I did that a couple times, man. You know, with that particular government contract that we had for a week, pretty much. And that was a huge because it was low chief and it was contractual, not through my business, but paid to me. And I had to make a decision like, do I want to put my boss hat? Nah, it's going through my business. I want to do it. Or will I say, man, look, take this little bit of money that's going to be able to get me by slow season and just put my work out for a bit and just go to work. Everybody else. And that's what I had to do. Whatever it takes. And yeah, I slept. There was a couple nights where I came home. I'm calling wife like, wifey, what you I should do? I'm all the way home to Maryland. Should I stay like DC? I'm like, I ain't buying. I'm going to eat up all my money. Getting paid, thousands of dollars. But she like, man, you might want to just stay down there. No point of you coming all the way back 2 hours or so. I'm like, man, look, I know this little cut in DC. Let me put it right there, back, get a couple hours of sleep. I slept in a Bentley a couple times too with clients.
Oh, listen, I mean, I didn't allude to that, but I know that
No,
there's been plenty of times where I got to call you like, yeah, I'm calling you live from the back seat. I'm trying to get tucked in. I can't really get comfy. Like, it's man, it's
and for purposes of the type of climate that this was back like 2015ish, because obviously you got
yeah. You got to
I
give
don't
it
want to
time
skip,
lapse.
but obviously the car's got to be cleaned a certain way. But yeah, I fell asleep. Not no, I fell asleep in the backseat. I always slept in the driver's seat and just linked the chair back.
And then leaned it back. Got you.
Yep.
Well, if you remember, I can remember when we was having a conversation when you was just talking through the logistics of negotiating that deal. You talked about it from the perspective of like, yo, if I do this deal, I I might end up having to sleep in my car occasionally, which is a tough pill to swallow. And then for it to come, because when you called me, it was like, yo, I'm in my car. Like, it it's different. It's different. And I'll say, I think that the main point I want to drive about that, because it ain't always about giving hardship stories or any of that, is mainly to say you have to be willing to do whatever you're willing to do for you to win. So if that means missed time, if that means sitting in your car, I mean, you know how my schedule is. I've worked in my car. I've taken naps in my car. I'm using my phone the same way I would use a computer. Like, whatever it takes to get done. And of course, you got to have the right support system. You know what I mean? You got a great wife. I got a great wife as well. But the thing that entrepreneurship taught me is whatever it takes is more than a saying that you say on social media. It's really whatever it takes. Like, whatever you looking to do to hustle and be successful, and not being afraid of it. Like, for me, I enjoy my journey because everything I'm building from the mud. Like, I'm not from the era of, I got an inheritance from my parents and then I finessed that into money. No, like zero, like nothing. You know what I mean? And building on top of the same way you thinking about going back to work. I'm having people call me like, yo, I just went over here. They throwing wild numbers. You got to come back. Like, why don't you should like sell houses or do some business on the side because then you could double dick and take on all this money. And I'm like, nah, it's no way for me to really build this unless I can be outside. Like, I got to be outside. I got to pound the pavement because I'm building it from scratch. And that's the key. And social media activity and all that is good. Like, you can build up a base of that. But at some point in time, you got to get out here and grind and really push it in order to be able to get to that next level. And like we talk about all the time, sacrificing, not taking trips, not going places, not buying bottles. I mean, how many conversations that we have about, some of the dinners that we used to have with a lot of bottles and big steaks and all that, and being like, yo, this quarter, I don't know.
Yep.
We're gonna have to pause it. You know what I mean? But it's a part of the game. And I think that's what blesses you. That's what blesses us or any business owner long term when you can make them sacrifices to move to the next level.
I'm gonna tell a story. I'm gonna set it up and let you slam dunk it and tell the rest of it. But I remember at one point in time, you were in corporate America trying to get away, and I had just left. The trade school, and I was like, yo, it's okay, keys, but it ain't the six figures that you getting right now. But you'll have peace of mind here, and it'll be so easy. And you was like, that, yo, sign me up. And then I was on my way coming out, and you came in taking less cheese. People think it's all about the money. You took less cheese for a piece of mind, and talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly correct. It was, I mean, for me, I was physically and mentally drained. Like, I came from, a 30-second story, which was funny enough. I can remember working at the firm I was working at the time, which I'll leave them nameless. But I had gotten sick at work. They used to have a spot. They got a place inside of some CVS. It's called the Minute Clinic or whatever. It's like patient first. So I go get checked out or whatever. Just think I got a cold or something. Come to find out, I got pneumonia. So they send me to, this is in the middle of the workday. They send me to the hospital. Like, yo, you need to get yourself checked out. Cool. I'm there. They run some antibiotics through my system, give me some fluids or whatever. It's like noon. They discharged me at like 11 p.m. from the hospital. So I jump in my car, and my wife and I leaving the hospital. So she go one way, I go the other way. So she called me like, yo, where you going at? We live this way. Oh no, I gotta go back to work and finish what I was doing at noon when they put me on the back of the ambulance and took me to the hospital. Like, it's due at 8 a.m. And I remember logging in, and my boss's boss at the time was working at the same time, and he hit me like, yo, you on? But the link is showing that you logging in from the building. Like, you ain't home? Nah, I needed, because the job that we did, we needed multiple screens in order to do it. And I didn't have multiple screens at my house. So I'm there knocking it out because the way our contract was, I didn't have a schedule. So you know how you take a job and you work 10 to 6, 9 to 5. We worked 8 a.m. until. So you go home when what you need to do is done. And I'm responsible for managing $1 million portfolios, and I have something due at 8 a.m. And I think after that, I had gotten better and just had an epiphany in my car one day, like, yo, I got up out of hospital bed and jumped, fly in the car, and went back to work at 11 p.m. midnight and worked until probably 2, 3 o'clock in the morning in the building, went home, slept for 3 or 4 hours, showered, changed clothes, and went back into work to start my day. nah, like this ain't. And I was being compensated, but it was like, nah, man, this ain't. I'm worth more than this. Like I'm like, so I needed to step away. So to your point, you're right. I took less. Um, I stepped back in my career. I stepped back financially, but I needed that breather. And working there gave me a chance to get back to helping people because I was in the realm of just it was all about money.
Yeah.
It was all about money, not caring about people, etc. And I needed a switch. But that's also when I realized, like, long term, I gotta be an entrepreneur because if I'm getting out of hospital beds and going back to work, I can only do that for me again. Like I can't do that for somebody else anymore.
Yeah. And for the record, y'all, he is not lying. When he told me that, I thought he was joking. All my friends was joking until one time we was hanging out downtown. At an event. It might have been one of your events. And we came up, the place we were partying at. And the building you were working for, I don't think you worked there. I'm not sure. I think you might
No,
have been.
I was. I think maybe I was still. I think I might have still been there.
Yeah, I think you were still there. And we looked over at the building like, yo, why is it lights like in certain cubicle or areas? The building's still open? He like, yeah, this dude's up there doing work. It's 1 1:30, went out the club from partying. And somebody is up on the 12th floor working.
It's a
I could
fact.
not believe.
That's
Not,
it's man, it's so crazy to close that part of the conversation out. Salute to the bro T. He was on in the comments with us last week. He was working there at the same time, and in his job, he dealt with foreign markets, so he had to manage money in foreign currencies. So he had it set up where, like, if there was an issue in China, which, like, there's a time difference, so the middle of the night for us is like the first thing in the morning for them. He would
mm,
had to get up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and like jump on the computer, start working, deal with that, go to bed. Oh, then it's time for the London markets to open. Wake up, do business in London, and then still be to work at 8, 9 a.m. to handle all of the US business. That's just what it was there. It was sacrificing. But we clearly realized, like, all right, yo, if I'm working this hard, I gotta do it for me. Like, this is how companies and organizations become billion-dollar businesses because they have people that are willing to do things like that.
1,000. And shout out to L 5 to 10 CEO SAS for tapping in and still on here. Ice Brother Bling, Beauty Destiny, Mike the Trainer, Clandestina, A1 Flow, Ray, Shaker T. Man, we appreciate everybody for tapping in so far. You shared this a setback, right? That you had to take. Um, so I'm gonna share a setback that I had. So the year was 2014. Still here, fam? You spinning?
Yeah, I'm still.
Yo. All right, well, I'm gonna go ahead and share the story. So the year was 2014, top of 2014. I had to make a decision. I know I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. This was before I started the business that I run right now. Um, but I know I wanted to start a business. Let me add Jay Hall back in. He probably send another request. So what I did was, all right, let me tap you in. 1 second, folks. Well, it's not letting me send you a request, fam. Send a request through, fam. Yeah, we about to wrap this thing up in a little bit, guys. Let me try to get J Hall agent back in. You send a request, bro? Some reason it's not let me add anybody else in. Dayton Boys Del, we just talking about you earlier, bro. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, man. I know you're still on cloud 9 from yesterday. The big 30. Hey, J Hall, shoot me a request. And drop in the comments if you sent me the request. But yeah, let me tell a story right quick. So this was 2014, top of 2014. Me being known for cars and like always into cars, I had to make a tough decision because I started to see my future. My daughter was about to turn 2 at the time. You sent the request? Well, I can't see the request. This is crazy. E-Vapors. Hey, Vapors, try to send me a request. And see what happens. Did it go through? Did it go through, Hall? Nah. Yeah. Good energy. Yeah. You was flies on or what too, boy? My bro stay fly. All right. I'm about to tap you in right now. I'm sending you a request, bro. Let's see if you get it. Okay, J Hall. Hey, Vapor, I'm gonna bring you in a little bit, bro. Yo,
listen, nah. Before you finish, I had to say happy B-Day to Ron. I gotta talk to him when he come off a high. You know how he be when he on cloud 9. Yo. I'm gonna talk to him in like a week or two when he come down. I know he on one, but he was overly fly yesterday, yo. But go ahead, tell a story.
Yeah. And when we say high, we talking about like in mindset, not
Yeah. I don't know. None of that.
Just making context. But yeah, so me being cautious around, always known for flashy cars and nice cars. I had to make a decision because I knew what I wanted long term. Long term was entrepreneur, business owner, and continue to elevate my lifestyle for me and my family. And I had to make a tough decision to get rid of my baby, the Benz, which was my baby at the time. And I was either gonna get Benz and get Ashton. You remember? I was gonna get the party, or get rid of the Benz and step back, stack money, and get my wife a convertible. To step her in. Tough decision. She test drove the convertible. I test drove the DB9. Right, we both test drove. We both was on cloud 9. Shout out to the boy Ace, man. Be free my guy. Come on soon.
It's a fact.
But we test drove the joint, riding around. We feeling real good, And came back home. Wife was go ahead and get the ass. No, that was your car you wanted. I'm like, man, I don't feel right with me getting the ass and you still riding around in the same car you had before, for the last 10 years. And she like, boy, yeah, about cars. You don't. But I kid about how it looked at that time, right? I'm like, man, yeah, bro got but his wife still got an old beat. You feel me? So I kid about that at the time, and I was like, just don't sit right. And she came up with the conclusion, let's get both. And I'm like, whoa, that would be hard. I did the, boy. I had to crunch the numbers.
Yep, you gotta put it in the notebook.
I had to put it in a notebook, and I was like, "Ooh, we'll be halved out where we will be car poor." And car poor is a term that me and Eva talk about all the time, where you look good on the outside, you got the nice clothes, and you got the house, you got the cars, but that's it. You ain't got no money in the bank. Can't take trips like you want to take. You can't eat out like you want to eat out, and have nothing. You might be eating oodles and hot dogs and cereal, but you looking good. So, like my daughter got, go ahead, put my phone down. But But yeah, so I was like, I want to be car. I've been there. I don't want to do it. So traded in the bench, got her, the drop. She was on cloud nine, loving it. And I told myself, it's 2014, that 5 years down the line, which would have been 2019, I'll buy a Superman 5. I was like, I'll buy the brand new F550. I came from a CLS. So I would go Sky 550 big body. 2019, I'm gonna buy cash because I'm gonna be the business owner, killing in 5 years. Because we had 5-year plans. You know how we used to do back in the day, 5-year plans. And the time went. A business opportunity came with, our boy T. I jumped on it because I wanted to be this entrepreneur bad. Entrepreneur so bad. And I convinced myself that it was the right move. And I convinced you was like, man, I don't know about him. Let's keep it 1,000.
No, I mean we gonna keep it real, but I'm gonna get a raw version of it. Like,
Yeah.
really, you called me on your bully game. Like, listen, we ready to do this. Listen, we about to do this deal.
Jumping
Like,
off.
just say you jumping in. Don't ask me no questions. It's me. And we at that point we had already had a business relationship for years. So it was like, all right, for you, I'm gonna sign off on this. But I know the individual that has this play. And I can remember y'all going to see the site where the business was gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And you know what, and we let's share it. So y'all were gonna, like, it was gonna be like this kind of sort of business center, Regis kind of business in Union Station, where
Right.
as you were in and out of town for business in DC, you would have a place to log in, do biz, meet with people, and then get on your train and leave. Right? Genius idea. And y'all went to scout the site out, but there was no site. Like, there was no location. Y'all just drove to DC, or he laid y'all to DC for no reason. Yeah. And there was no location. And you drove straight to my house. So if you remember, you were standing in my kitchen because you had, once again, for the young boy Ace,
Yeah,
you had Ace with you, and you were standing in my kitchen like, I'm mad that he made me go all the way to DC to start this business for nothing. There's no location for us to open this up. But you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to start something right now. I'm going to give him my 2 weeks notice when I go to work tomorrow. I'm going to start something. I don't know what it's going to be, but I'm going to start it.
Yep.
And that's a fact. And you sneakily, I want to be emphasized, sneakily bought the Spur and then gave your 2 weeks notice with the car outside as they were staring outside the window like, hey, yo, who car is that? All facts.
Yo, real talk, man. So I'll say it's not even about 2 months. So from that play, I was burnt out, right? Because my whole goal was top of 2015. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And that completely destroyed me. So I got that. I was looking at a viewpoint registry, and shout out to my boy Wayne and why. Right before that business trip, I took my wife to New York, and I rented a Rolls Royce Gold to chauffeur because I had to go all the way to New York. There wasn't nobody Maryland, Virginia area that was those type of cars. And talking to my guy, and I told him I'm from all the way from Baltimore. Yeah, like ain't nobody also. I said nah, but I would love to start one. He was like, man, you got my support. You should. It's a wide open market. Started in my back of my. But at that point, we still had to play Union Station. And when that folded, trickled back my mind like chauffeur business. I'm looking at Maybachs, I'm looking at Ghosts, I'm looking at Phantoms, I'm looking at big, and I'm looking at Ashes too. So I was like, man, maybe I can just four-door Ash and get my dream car and use it for business. Everybody told me it was the wrong idea. Shout out to my guy who was CEO at Car Biz. He just closed a great acquisition, for review. But I had to really him because he sponsored me doing my car for Rell because I bought the Benz from them.
Yep.
And he was
good dude.
I got football players and athletes with their Aston Martin here all the time. Little car, it's a four-door, but like, you need a Bentley. He told me that. It's the same day I went to the Bentley. He's like, you need a Bentley. I'm like, being an entrepreneur, I'm like, man, I'm gonna make it work. It's a round. I'm gonna stick the round peg in the square hole instead of trying to make it square to fit in the square. I went to the Bentley dealership with my brother. Shout out to place Dell. I don't know if he's still in here, but we Bentley dealership. We sat in I set him in the ass. I already knew I was small. But you know, my guy at Car Bears was like, you're gonna have everybody, athletes. You just thinking about kids and parties and weddings. You might have all types of shapes and sizes. Bigger car like a Bentley. Set my brother in the back seat. He was hyped. I'm like, but how do you feel? You know, my brother was like, yo, I mean, it's kind of tight in here. And I'm like, yeah, dang. Dreams down, flush down. And then the financial, like, hey, Brendan, my God, Brendan, show him the Bentley. Me and my brother looked at each other like, whoa, we know what the B is, Bentley, that's nuts. Man, I drove, you know, I rode in the back seat and, you know, got approved for it. And day I wasn't even planning to buy one, but I was just in case. And, you know, we had a client already lined up that, you know, celebrity down South Lizzie. You know, he needed to, and, you know, we got the call to get it got approved. You want, I was like, whoa, now? And, boom, picked the Bentley up. I ain't know how to work from here. We try and work radio, we turn up the volume and actually the AC button. Man, it was like foreign spaceship in that. This is 2014, and man, it was a blessing, crazy feeling. It was a different type of emotion. Emotion like, yo, you made it. You got a Bentley, bro. You driving a Bentley. It's not rented. It's at your house. It's right here. You can drive it anytime. Man, it was a beautiful feeling, bro. But you know, it took all those sacrifices, and then more sacrifices. I thought it was gonna be good after that. It went like this, as you always say, ebbs and flows. It continues to go up, but then it take that deep drop like Tesla stop. Boom.
Well, and I think that the other part that I want to add to that, to formalize it, is there was a lot of real business in that. It came together fast, but just like I talked about last week, you found a problem and created a solution. Mm-hmm. So it may have come together fast, but you followed the steps. Like nobody, until when you started doing it, and we took the time to look around and kind of sort of see, when you was like, yo, give me your thoughts about this. And I'm looking around to see, there was nobody that was doing what you were doing in comparison to now, where I see everybody and their mother doing it. There was nobody doing it at that time in our area. So it was a need for it. You took the risk, but the thing was, it was also a calculated risk.
Definitely calculated risk.
You know what I mean? Like sometimes
months stacking bread, sacrificing my name as Jay Rell without a car. I'm riding in my wife's Civic for for the whole summer, like 8 months. No Jay Rell status. I didn't care. I didn't care what people think. Oh, yo, Rell got a Civic now. Oh, this car must have got repoed. I didn't care.
Yo, at that point, the only thing that we was focused on, and the only thing we've really ever been focused on, is revenue. And that's the thing about being an entrepreneur, is you got to take some, you're going to take some L's. That's a part of the game. Mm-hmm. Like, no one wins every time outside of Floyd Mayweather. Like, it just don't happen. Like, you going
in business.
You're going to take an L here and there, but the key is to win more than what you lose, and to make sure that you took the time to put it in. Because I think the other side of it as well is, a lot of times we start businesses, yo, and we don't even really have a plan. It's like, you know what I mean? Like we good at making t-shirts or making hats or fixing cars or doing whatever. So we just start doing it with no real plan, and we do it at a disadvantage. You know, but the thing is, as long as you're willing to hustle and grind through it, because it's something different There's a different feeling when 2 weeks passes and a paycheck doesn't come. And that's the biggest takeaway that I want to always ensure that people understand in these conversations, because it sounds good. And the internet, don't get me wrong, it's a blessing. I wouldn't trade it in. Like, I wouldn't trade that shit in at all. But when 2 weeks pass and you don't get a paycheck, that shit does something different to you in your soul, because you have to understand that your hustle got to go to 1,000. Bro, because the bills aren't going to stop.
You remember my first client that I told you about?
Yeah. Yeah.
I took an airport run for like $250 because I seen no money coming in, no paychecks. It was the third month of business, no client. About to be prom season where I normally make the money, weddings. But other than that, it wasn't nothing coming. Hotel called me that I got plugged in with, said, hey, look, can you be here in the morning? Guy needs to go to the airport. Take the guy to the airport. He like, man, I'm paying $250 for a Bentley, you sure? Yeah, this is legit. He was like, man, you charging way too little. This should be at least like $700 to go to the airport in this caliber of vehicle. And I'm like, we're running a special, sir. He ain't kidding, but we talked, man. I wish I would have kept in contact with him. He was a very wealthy guy. He dropped a lot of gems, a lot of jewels. He owned tons of business.
And that was such a good conversation. I remember you hitting me after having that, because to me, where I look at it was, yeah, okay, you took a short on revenue, but that was the proof of concept. Yeah. Like, that trip was the proof of concept of, oh, okay, so I can legitimately, because all you need is one proof of concept to show that you can generate revenue doing something.
Yep.
Then at that point, it just becomes strategy and hustle.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just about strategizing, and it's not really about knowing everything. But I think the other side of it too, that I want to make sure is covered, is the research that it takes to make it right. Like, I did it in my own business. I watched you do it before me, taking that time to do the research, to understand the marketplace and saying, okay, let me understand exactly what I'm getting into, how I fit in, and how I'm going to make the money. Because when you're in the heat of the moment and in the trenches, there's no way to, like, you can't call anybody to be like, yo, can you, what about this? What about that? Like, nah, you in the moment, so you got to do the research of understanding. Like, when I started my business, you got to remember, I was on the lending side of real estate when the market crashed.
Yeah, big fact.
So when I started the business, I had to look at it and say, okay, what do I believe is going to happen in the market in the next 5 years? How do I fit in? And if the market dies tomorrow, what am I going to do? And doing that particular research and being able to thug it out and doing it in a way where, like we talk about all the time, there's no pride. There's absolutely no pride at all when it takes to doing what you need to do to build your business, hustling and thugging it out. Yo, it's funny. I can remember early on, and when I started my business, I was like, I had 2 jobs. I worked at Burlington and I worked at Nordstrom as well. And I worked at Burlington like 6 a.m. with a bunch of young guys, right? And I don't know nothing about what they talking about. But I'm in there unloading pallets. Like, I'm a desk guy. Like, that's who I am. That's who I worked myself in there. I don't know about no pallets, but I'm in there in some boots and a V-neck t-shirt, and I'm unloading pallets before the store open or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
Leave there because it's close to my house. I can go home, take a shower, get dressed, and then go to Nordstrom. So I could put time in there. And then when I get there, I'm meeting these people, and they're like, yo, you super smart. And your business is building, and you understand, like, you're doing these things. Why are you here? And I'm like, yo, because I got a plan, and I'm trying to build something, but it costs money. Marketing costs money. I have to invest in me. It's bigger than just paying my bills. I got to invest in me and what it is I want to do. And I got to keep doing it. And I did that until I got to a point where I felt like, okay, you know what? I can sustain myself, and it's time for me to go all the way in. But it ain't no, to your point, it ain't no pride in us. Like
Nah.
it was laughable when they was like, people see me fully suited in the store, like, yo, you really be in Burlington? Like, are you serious? And it was crazy because I got the job so easily at Burlington because I had a conversation with the manager and he was like, yo, I feel like you could be sitting in my seat. But if you want to do it, go ahead, Joe. Like, I'll put you in here with these young boys, man, and you can unload these trucks and play around with these shoes. You know what I mean? It's just to put a bow on it and to just kind of sort of give steps forward. The ultimate goal is understanding, first off, what are you willing to do in a business that you love, that you're willing to go above and beyond for? If you're not willing to sacrifice not just money, but time, energy, being unsuccessful, or whatever the case may be, the goal is to build something. This whole podcast that we're doing right now, we're building something from scratch that will eventually turn into something that's in studio. But we don't care about any of that. We just out the long-term goal is just about giving game. And I'ma also say I wanna end on my end on something that you taught me in business, is that you have to sacrifice, but you also have to do individual things as a way of rewarding yourself for your sacrifice.
Yeah.
So every time you make a move successfully in business, if it means, all right, I'm gonna buy a suit, I'm gonna go have a dinner at my favorite spot, I'm gonna buy a hat, I'm gonna do whatever, something to show this is what we push for. And I think the best and worst trait in both of us is we have an unstoppable motor.
Yeah.
And it works. And the thing is, that sounds great in conversation, right? That sounds amazing. Except when you want to relax and try to have downtime, but your mind is going 50 miles a minute because you're trying to strategize how you're going to generate revenue and close out the books for your business in that month for the next month. Because, you know, we either a day away from $1 million or a day away from working again.
Look, real talk. We in Vegas, 2015. I'm trying to line all these clients up. I takes the laptop with me. You wake up like, yo, I hear you talking. Yo, what's going on? I'm like, oh, I know we in Vegas. I know we on vacation, but I got business to continue to run because I don't have enough money for the proper staff to run the business while I'm gone. So we in Vegas. I got the headset on, talking to clients, sending invoices, closing deals. Again, but it's hard to turn it off. But once you get to a certain point, you have to turn it off because you don't want to burn yourself out. And like you said, you gotta turn it off. Sometimes you gotta reward yourself. You gotta re-energize. You know, especially with the situation of the climate that we're in for the last half year. You know, it's taking a lot out of people. It took me to have this climate that we're gonna take a breather. I'm taking a breather right now, taking a step back. But I got a question for you. I got two questions. One, I see you got the shirt. Plug your shirt, man. That's number one.
I mean, just branded as always or whatever. You know, I give my hoodies out to clients at settlement, just so that they can have a piece of me along with the settlement gifts. Salute to Creatively Designed, who does all my merch business wise. So yeah, I mean, like you talked about, everything is marketing. I can remember us running the streets with the Sierras t-shirts, handing them out to build the name.
Yep.
But what's that? What's question number two?
Question number two is, you set back, and we talked a lot, I guess, before you started your business. Ben, what's good, man? Richie, let me shout out Kenny Sean. We about to end the Hookah Boy, Frederick, Andrew, FX, Silvio look like he in the Philippines tapping it. Superman Finest, Andy Cabral. Um, yeah. So you watch, you sit in the passenger as I'm calling you, telling you the crazy stuff and the stuff that's going on upstairs, right? Having that knowledge, was that enough to fully prepare you for what you were going to do in your own?
I'm gonna say yeah, because it gave me, our conversations weren't fluff. It was, listen, yo, this is really what I'm going through right now to manage my business, like, and to make it happen. And it was, from clients doing shady deals to try to beat you out of money or whatever. It was a very direct representation of what business was. And for me, I've always treated it as, I'm playing with house money. Like, my entire career, everything that's happened to me is not what society predicted was going to happen for me. So for me, from a risk perspective, I know I'm talented enough that if I need to get a job tomorrow to pay my bills and survive, I can do so.
Mm-hmm.
But right now, let me put all the chips on the table and let's get it. Because it got to be, the way I looked at it is, and something I want people to take away is, so we get jobs and we get promotions and we get all these things, right? And that's, all those things are a blessing, right? But what we don't conceptualize as a people, I feel like, is, I don't think we think about the fact of, there's a reason why people are promoting you. There's a reason why people are paying you. They're not doing it for fun.
Mm-hmm.
They're doing it because of the value that you present.
Yeah.
Like, you don't get hired on any job because, they just like you and they want to make sure that they give you income. You got to open your mindset up. And then something that I used to talk to people about in the trade school business is, if you really believe yourself, you got to start asking questions. So if you work in a 6-figure job and you make $100,000 and you look around, you at your job, maybe you work in a warehouse or whatever, you look around the locker room and there's 20 guys in there. And maybe you think all of y'all make $100,000. You got to ask yourself, how much is this company making in order to be able to pay me and all of my guys this much money? Like, because they're not doing it for charity. They're not doing it because we're friends. Like, how much money are they making? And then you got to start thinking, so my man worked for us and he worked at this location. I got another man that worked at this location. So then you start counting locations and counting potential salaries. And then you realize that they're investing in you. So why wouldn't you invest in you?
Mm-hmm.
And don't feel like, don't let, because entrepreneurship is, when you did it, it wasn't really in vogue. When I started, it was kind of picking up to be hot. But now everybody's an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
But don't force yourself into a situation where you feel like you got to quit your job or do something stupid. Find something that makes sense that you can build.
Mm-hmm.
So that, kind of like E-Vape was talked about last week when he started his consulting firm, so that at any moment, if you want to pivot, you can make a move and you have something that you own that's proprietary, yours, that nobody can take from you.
Big facts. And remember the chick KP, man, KP, shout out to her. She ready to jump out the water, and I had a deep talk with her. Last I go get it, but she really want to jump out there and do her own thing, trying to figure things out, to pivot. Because once you jump off the roof without a parachute, you got to figure it out.
I agree, but what I will say is, one of my favorite excerpts from one of our favorite books, which is Think and Grow Rich, references the old war where they were outnumbered and they went to battle and they just stood around knowing that they was going to die in battle. So the commander lit all the boats on fire and was like, "Yo, now we can't get home."
Yeah.
So what's gonna stop you from getting home is them.
Mm-hmm.
So either we go through them and we get home to see our families, or we out of here.
Big fact.
And I think that's the thing that I think the fearfulness that we have as people is that when we jump off the roof, that the parachute won't open. Like, I've been blessed so much. You talk about you being blessed, man. I done had checks pop up in the mail, and I'm like, what is this check for? Like, what? I've never had a check mysteriously come in the mail. It's just about jumping out there. And I think it's also about, if you have something right now that you build and that you love, if it isn't monetized yet, find a way to monetize it first.
Yep.
So develop a plan to say, yo, I'm going to take this much time and I'm going to find a way to monetize it. And then once I start to generate income from it and I have proof of concept, because you don't need $1 million. No. You just need proof of concept that you can make money. Once you got that ride, I don't think you remember how fast things took off after that ride, because not only did he give you gems, but it finally resonated with you internally. Oh, I got something. I know I got something now. So then you started changing your marketing strategy up every 5 minutes, pouring money into it, pushing. All you need is proof of concept. And if you don't have proof of concept, you got to be able to pivot whatever your idea is into something that you can monetize.
1,000.
It's a fact, bro.
Yo, next week, yo, we're going to talk about You want to elaborate on that, man?
Hold on. You went out for me a sec. Say it again.
I said next week, y'all, we're going to be talking about.
I don't know what is going on right now, but you keep going out. Say it one more time. My bad.
Cam Energy.
Oh, yeah. Cam, listen. I'm looking forward to Cam Energy next week. And it's probably, in my opinion, the most powerful trait that you can have as an entrepreneur, because I don't want to give too much away about it, but salute to the legend Cameron Giles. Yeah. Cam Energy it's a whole different type of situation. So I'm looking forward to us chopping it up about that next week.
Yeah, like any last words, man?
Nah, man. I listen. Just all I'm gonna say is however you consume this, we appreciate you tuning in. Thanks for your time. We tell these stories not to keep people stressed out, but to motivate and show that it can be done. And just understand that somebody's going to do it. Whatever your idea is, whatever business you're looking to start, you don't have to do it. It's okay. Somebody will do it for you. And I'm going to end with, I listened to someone earlier today talk about how revolutionary Uber was, like literally today, and how they had a chance to invest in Uber, but they didn't understand the concept of getting into a stranger's car. And we talk about, because of the community that we come from, Uber's nothing but hacking. And for those who aren't familiar with the hacking culture, if you're from an urban area and you came out of a supermarket with your family and y'all ain't had no car, it was usually a man or a woman, preferably older, that had a car that said, yo, where you live? Oh, you live on that block? That's 5 minutes away? Give me $10. I'll take you there.
Yep.
And you put your stuff in their trunk and jump in the car and drive away. And somebody took that idea and decided to put it into an app to monetize it. And they already had proof of concept from 50 years of the African-American community doing that, and others not knowing, because it was the African-American community's business response to the taxi industry. So you don't have to do the idea. It's okay. Somebody will do it for you.
1,000%. For those who catching the replay, make sure y'all following the channel. Also on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button. If y'all like the episode, definitely hit us a like, leave us a comment, and we just got more to come. As I always say, stay positive, stay motivated.
Salute, bro.
All right, fam. We chat later.
Yes, indeed.